Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry it's taken some time to get back in here. We diagrammed, the last time we diagrammed a clipper cut. And I was thinking after a while, I thought, you know what? Clipper cutting, the shortest haircuts are that's where everything about error comes in. What?
Is your phone on?
Oh, let me turn off my phone, you guys. Because you know and I know that it'll cut into our time and start ringing at a stupid time. So anytime you want to turn yours off, by the way, if you have a client or something, just put it on airplane mode, and it doesn't ring, but you still can get text, by the way. Just letting you know. Anyways, in doing a really short haircut, you see everything that could possibly go wrong. The longer haircuts, because of the longer hair overlaying on some of your areas, unless it's just a straight line across, a zero, those are the factors. And that if a zero is longer on one side or the other, it's two factors. Cowlicks along the area behind the ear, and we've explained that with the diagram in the head form. But a real long hair shouldn't make a difference. You didn't hold your shear right. So we're going to cover that again today. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, if you don't mind, go ahead and pause this and get pen and paper. Take notes. Because if you really want to learn how to diagram, you got to write it down. So if you don't know how to write it down, just watching this, watching and doing are the areas of learning. So, some people are visual learners. They can just get right in there and do it, but not all of us are. So those of you that are not, those of you that are, well, good luck. But, those of you that need more than just looking at it, you need to do it. You need to write it down. All right, you need to take those notes. So we're going to go over the head form. I've gone over it several times. By the way, these are real inexpensive to buy. And you can write that down. So whenever you're doing a haircut and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I want to know where I'm at so I know where I'm going. These are great because if you're going to do a haircut and the direction that you hold it, you can see the scalp. A lot of the factors on haircutting, especially when you're taking it to one specific spot, is the hairline, right there. The perimeter line, the hairline, more so than the interior. So inside, that's why we call that the interior. The perimeter line is the wall, like the fence around the head. I know some books call the perimeter the ends. Well, those are all over the place. So, and it's not wrong, okay? That's just the way people choose to talk. Or give information. We like to do minute details. Okay, so let's talk about, we're going to be doing a layered haircut today. And the variety of layers is intense. What people don't realize when they're doing a layered haircut is when you take it to one point, this area here, the hairline, the perimeter line, is the biggest factor that's going to create those little edges, those little corners. Remember, if you've watched the video on doing a uniform layer, and you're wondering why from a bob you go into a mullet when you're trying to create layers in a bob, well, it tells you why. And it has everything to do with this area right here. That area just above the ear, traveling down into the nape line. Everything to do with it. Because you're taking it to one point. So when you take it to one point, it's going to reflect this. So the first haircut we're going to talk about, and this is the one I'm going to do. So this is the one I'm going to talk about. Is going to be just the straight layered, almost face framing type of haircut, because they don't want a lot of layers. They just want to be able to see layers, but they want to keep their length. So you're going to subsection the hair. And you can subsection it off if you want at the parietal line, because it's all going to come to one spot if you want to take care of the top area first. But it's up to you. This just depends on how good you are at handling the hair itself. So we're going to subsection it and we're going to part it out. Now keep in mind, all of this hair Now remember, we're doing diagramming a haircut. It's going to be held straight up to the frontal. This is the frontal bang ridge. Frontal fringe bang area right there. Right here. So, and now remember, you can use the face as a guide. The nose is an excellent guide. You're not guessing what direction you're going, because the very center of the face is where you're at. Once you get used to this, it becomes automatic. You just do it. Oh, I feel like I have to sneeze. Sorry, you guys. Anyways, so we're going to draw everything to that point. Now, if you want, you can section it all the way down. This is what my question to you, Sue, and we're also going to cut it at that angle. So when you bring it up, your fingers are going to be at that angle, and what angle do you suppose the shear is going to be? The same angle. So when we bring it up, you subsection, you create your first area. Okay, now the nose, of course. Let me do some lips there. There you go. She looks kind of wretched, but okay, give her some eyes and an eyebrow. Okay. So we know that this is going to be, the nose is going to be our guide on where we're going to take it to the center. All right, but it's elevated up, it's brought up. Do you want to use the word projected up? Do you want to use the word elevated up? Do you want to use the word I grab it and hold it up? I don't care what you use. Put it down at the center, cut it diagonal. You're going to then take your sections, again, all your sections, because the head is round, are going to go to that point. All right, and as you travel up until you run out of hair. One question for you, look at that diagram. This is why you talk to your client. Look at the diagram and you answer the question. Where on the entire head is the hair going to be the shortest? On the entire head. I don't care if you cut it this far or this far. Where is it going to be the shortest? I mean, you know, if you're going to cut it this far, that hair better be down to the ground to create the layers. But let's get real. So yeah, at the frontal ridge, because you brought it to that's where it's elevated the shortest. The longest is going to be possibly at the occipital, traveling, or at the nape, because it's going to travel to, now you see how that came up. It came up to the frontal ridge. Now let's change that a little bit. I'm going to take this off. Let's say she says, but I don't want bangs. Now, I'm not going to remove those. Well, I guess I could just kind of clean that up a bit for you. It's a little messy. Sorry. Not sorry. Like Reese's. Okay, so let's say that she says, but I don't really want too short up on top. Okay, so you're still going to part it off at the parietal line. That just kind of helps you separate it a bit. This time, instead of holding it up, you're going to hold it out. Do you see how that now has become a little longer? You're going to hold it out, and you can hold it out as much as you want. Again, recommended that you do your lines diagonally when you hold it out. The reason for that is the head is round. Now you're going to be cutting it straight up and down. But the top is going to be longer. Where's it going to be the shortest when we do this? Okay, right here at the temporal area, because that actually inverts in a bit. And I'll show you. I'll show you on this mannequin here. So see, if we bring it straight out, see what I'm saying? No, actually the temporal area is going to be a little bit longer, isn't it? Because that travels back. So still yet, the shortest point should be at the frontal ridge on this mannequin. Oh, because I did it there. Okay, so this would be, anyways, look at it. Sorry. I don't want to mess you up on this, all right? That's why these are important. That's why I'm recommending buy one. Mark it off for every part of the head form, all right? So everything's going to come forward. So if you cut it straight across, still yet that very central ridge is going to be the shortest point. Let's say that she says, but I want layers, but I don't want it too short on top. Here's another suggestion for you when you bring it up, is to cut it at this angle. So she has a few more shorter layers closer. This is where you're talking to your client, see? This is the architecture of cutting hair. This is the foundation of diagramming right here. So if you're going to diagram, you need to draw the head form. You can't just say, okay, she did it on the side, and on the side she pulled it straight out. That is not enough information for you. So it is not a TMI, all right? It is an NMI, not enough information, or not much information. So you want to do that. Now, let's say that she says, but I want to keep my length. So let's put all these straight again. We're coming straight forward. And she says, but I want to keep my length. And her length is right here. And we're going to bring that forward. And we know it's not going to reach. So we want to keep her length. So once you get past, your point of measure here is the tip of the ear. The tip of the ear. Horizontal. Tip of the ear. Horizontal. Center occipital. That area there, when they're wanting a layered face framing type haircut, everything's going to come forward. And it's going to be a layered cut all over until you run out of hair, depending on their length. Now, length has a big factor with this cut, with this layered haircut. So once you reach the area in the ear, you're going to then start cutting, because she wants to keep her length. Diagonal. You're going to take it up, and I'm going to do it here just a little bit, and you're going to turn your fingers this way. When you turn them away from the face, that's length. When you turn them towards the face, it's shorter. You want to learn diagramming, right? I've been getting requests for diagrams. Here you are. This is what diagramming is all about, all these little details. All right? So that's one layered haircut. She wants that, and you're going to pull all this hair forward, all of it forward, and you can do it in small sections at a time, and it's all going to do that. But remember, if she wants to keep her length, if she doesn't want to, then you're going to just take it to this area, and what will happen, what's going to happen in the back? You're going to get it rounded. The back will end up being rounded. If you want a V back, you take it to the top. Take it here, and then what happens is the longer hair is going to be at the very center nape, and that's going to be the longest point. And you can see that. So it ends up, because you're going to cut it here, it'll end up coming out like this. All right, so that's how you also get a V haircut. Now, here's the factor about a V haircut. I told you, this is a diagramming class, how to diagram. So take your time and listen to it. What happens when you drop it down, you're going to end up with a little corner right here. Where is that corner coming from? What did I tell you about the perimeter line? You hold it all the way up, so it's going to develop this square back here. When you drop it down, even though the very center of this is going to be the longest point, this is going to show up when the hair lays down. That's why. There's your why on that particular area. You may have, when she brings it forward, you may have another one right here. Why? Because of that temporal area and it going above the ear. You brought it to one spot. This is slightly shorter above the ear, and it's a little longer as it comes down a bit. So you're going to get that when she tries to bring it forward, and that's going to be that little tail that you see. There is your why on that. Okay, so diagramming this haircut is extreme. You can see the variables. Do it this way, you can do it this way. They want to keep their length, then you diagram it. Just the ear is your point of measure. All right, there's a specific area. We just do it. After a while, you just do it. They say you want to keep your length. Okay, you're getting ready to get down to the ends of the hair. Bring it out and just match it up to what you've got above it. All right, I'm not writing all these directions down. Write them in your own words. I can write it for you. I can put it down for you, but I speak a certain language. Put it in the language you speak. And I don't mean, yo soy mexicana, so I'm not going to, no lo voy a escribir en español. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is your language for you to comprehend, for you to understand. So please don't mix that up. All right. So, all right, let's do another one. And then I'm going to quickly do, okay, so remember the head form, question mark, number 1, number 2. And you want to put the ear in there because that's a point of measure. There's a parietal line. There's a haircut called the 180. And what it is you could either do it side to side. In other words, again, I'm bringing this one out, ear to ear, or you can do it front to back. Thing about the 180, it's done on all lengths of hair because a 180 is straight up, 180 is straight up. You can do a flat top or you can do a layered cut. Same haircut. It depends what happens under the parietal line that creates either layers or very short fade. All right, so the 180 is held straight up. My preference is to take it front to back. The reason for that, you see all of those hairs instead of chop, 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 because in it, we're not chopping, by the way, because in the cutting all those different lines, this is power in numbers. If you want volume, if you want to get rid of a certain wave as well. Going side to side, now see, possibly you didn't know this. Going side to side, what you're going to have is if you have all those lines, creates more waves until you get back here. Then it softens it a bit because now what is this in the back? It is now a solid line coming down. But these are just individual lines, whereas if you go straight back, and then you can clean this up after you do the back and forth, because what you're going to do once you're finished with it, either one, whether you go side to side or front to back, you're then going to subsection. Now this is your choice. You can either subsection horizontally and bring it up because the wall now is right here. That is your guide. That parietal line is your guide. You don't bring it to the center unless you've decided to do your 180 only along the center and everything comes to that. Now let me do a small one on that so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's do her face. How much time do we have, cameraman?
12 minutes.
We have 12 minutes. Now, it's just going to go over a little bit, but the haircut's not going to take long to do. All right, you can also subsection it here, bring everything only to this, this point. Everything comes to the center, no matter what, right there. It's going to create a really rounded effect along the face because you no longer see these two corners here, create a corner on the bottom. If you do the 180, ever notice that little corner right there? Here's your why, right there. This corner is going to create that. Taking it up to the center is going to change that a bit, but remember the shortest point is going to be at the very center top. So knowing where you're at, again, I can't stress it, know where you're going. On the 180, everything is brought up. You either do it front to back, side to side, or you bring it to the center. Still yet, once you get done, your choice is here. Do I now take this last hair area that I cut and bring it straight up, or do I continue taking everything to the center? That's up to you. That's up to you. Now, this is why the DIYs, do you see where they put it up in a ponytail and cut it themselves? Because they took it to the center. Even though they don't know what they did, that's what they did. It's a DIY. It can be. So what happens with your clients, if you take it all to the center and bring it back up and they're watching you in the mirror, why should they pay you to do it? This is more beneficial for you. So my recommendation, take it to the center on top if you want, and then make the parietal line your guide after that. It's not that much of a variable, and what have you done? You got rid of this corner. All right, so that makes it lay just a little better. Try both, but there's your guide. Now, here's another one for you while we're in the middle of this. You know where the crown is at. We just talked about the frontal fringe. They want long layers. They want volume, and they want really long layers. They don't really want it close to their face, but they want movement and volume. Okay, this is where the crown comes in. You can again take it and bring everything. The vertex, you're going to be right at the center vertex. That's where you're going to take it to, all right? So you're going to bring it all back. Again, cut it diagonal. Everything goes back. Everything goes back. Again, subsection, diagonally, everything goes back. Where is the length going to be, and where is the shortest point going to be? Exactly, right there. That's the shortest point. So are they going to get their length? Yes, they are, because everything is going to travel up. Now, what's going to happen here? Yes, we're going to have a variable. This is going to peek out a little bit. You're going to get a little corner when she brings it down, and you're going to get another corner right back here when you bring it down. That's where you decide, do we clean this up or do we leave it? Because when you bring it back, the hair flows just a little better than when you bring it forward. The evidence is all back here. So there's your diagram for that. So the layered haircuts are enormous on what you can do. The uniform layer, of course, I'll do that one again. I'll do another diagram for you with the uniform layer. But these are the variables on the haircut. Now, can you take it as well, and I'm going to bring it straight back like we brought it straight forward? Yes, you can. What ends up happening with that, though, when the hair lays down, it kind of, on the back of the head, let's pretend this is the back of the head. Okay, when the hair lays down, because you brought it, it's going to slightly curve up a bit because of that. So you have to be careful about that. If they still, and again, if they want to keep their length, what do? If this is coming up, you're going to cut it diagonally so that that stays longer, this is shorter. So look at your fingers, look at your shear. Am I creating length? How far away am I from the head? See, we don't see this part of it. We see this part of it. That's it. You can't see unless you just know where you're at on the head form. Now I want to show you real quick, and tell me, cameraman, if I need to stop.
Well, we can do a stop start.
Okay. You want to do that right now? We're going to do a stop start. You won't be able to tell, so I'm combing right now.
Okay.
Okay, so I have this mannequin. You can see it's pretty much all one length. So we're going to take it to the lips. I don't want to, you talk to your client and you say, where do you want your layers to start? Again, the face is a point of measure. Don't tell them that, all right? So I'm going to part her off, and we're going to take it to the lips. Okay, do you see where, once she styles this, how much is it going to pop up? All right, it's going to come up to the nose. So if she says, I want it to land on my nose, you want to take it to the lips. If she says, I want it to land about here, because she's going to style it. Styling is not laying it flat. Normally they put a little bit of poof into it. Best thing is, longer is better than what they're asking for. You can always take it off. You can't put it back. All right, so I think I'm just going to take her a little below the chin because I don't want to take a lot off. If I take too much off, now you can see that I will run out of hair in the back. And the nape is not going to reach at all. So if I took it to the nose, yeah, I'd be able to cut all the way up into the nape line, just barely. So again, I'm bringing it straight up. Remember I showed you that? Look at my fingers at a diagonal. And I'm going to do it sideways so you can see my fingers at a diagonal. Now the other cut was, bring it straight out, fingers straight up and down. Okay? And you can see the difference. You can see that the shortest point is going to be right here, slightly longer, keeps traveling longer. Straight up and down. When it comes down, it's going to follow this line because I'm bringing it to one central point. If I want to keep the length, remember I told you that area right here above the ear is where then I would start taking it and bringing it out to keep her length. So I'm going to do the other side first, and it wouldn't matter which one I cut. I'm going to dry cut it so you can see it. And I'm going to bring it out to the center, and I'm going to hold it diagonal. Everything is going to come to this diagonal line. Let me get my shear real quick. All right, and I'm taking it slightly below the chin. So I'm holding it diagonal, and there's the nose. Bringing it to the nose. All right, not this, not any other direction, to the nose every time. So everything is going to come up to the nose. I'm holding it diagonally, just exactly the same shape as the forehead is. I'm bringing it over, and I'm going to cut it at that angle. One thing I want to review for you real quick. Your fingers are held, balls of your fingers are what hold a shear. Primary, secondary, extended. Do you see where I'm at the secondary position, but diagonal? Practice that. Close your eyes. Do your shear up and down. In all of them, do it up and down. Look in the mirror. Close your eyes. Open them. Make sure that your shear stays straight. This concentrates on your fingers and what you need to do. All right. So you see that coming in. Again, bring it out. And it's just going to fall into place, and you'll see that corner come in too. Okay. Again, diagonally. Bring it up. I'm not doing anything different. So any haircut that you see, you can now, or you should be able to diagram. Many times they show, they don't teach. Okay, back to the center of the nose. Now this is what I'm talking about. See that little corner right there? Where is that? Right here. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Brought it to the exact same spot. But yet, directly behind it, it's a little bit shorter. Why? Because it's up. So that hair traveled down a bit, the other one traveled up a bit, but this is your why on all those little corners that you're going to get. Okay, I'm going to bring this up. Take it further back, comb it up. This just takes less time for me to do it dry for you. But you see, I'm starting to, I will run out of hair. Right there, center. Whoops, take it up. Diagram, diagonal. Okay. Take it down to the lower nape. Comb it up. Is that a lot of hair? Yes, it is. You're pulling all of it to one spot. This is called a stationary guide. Everything comes to one spot. And very little. I have another comb, so. All right, and again, what's going to happen, I've got this corner, and I will have this corner. Why? Again, right there. All right, so when you do it shorter, you're definitely going to be able to see it. Get another comb here. Now, what I'm going to do with this is exactly what I showed you earlier. I'm going to take that hair right behind it, and I want you to see something. Short, short, long. I'm going to cut it diagonally because I'm reaching length. Now that lays just a little bit better. Comb it, that little corner out right there, and you notice my fingers are reaching forward to keep the length, but keep the layer. Now, because of this area here, do you see that little bit of a hard line right there? Do you see that hair? Okay, I can take it up again, and it's still there. But the point is, this is square. So what I have to do with this little bit of a hard line, this is where then you talk to your client and just say, are you okay with those little layers? Because what's it going to do? It's going to cup under a bit, which maybe she won't mind. But bottom line, all of the hair every bit of it went to one focal point. I'm not going to take it all the way to the center back because it's not going to reach. So you've gotten a nice layered, it's not really choppy, haircut. Now if you do the top, go straight back, that becomes even more intense. So sometimes possibly the best thing to do is bring this forward and then match it to the parietal line so you don't get this unless they want it. Those are variables. Test it. Get a family member. They talk about you anyways, right? So ask a family member, do you mind if I practice a layered haircut on you? So you can do the layered haircut and just say, look, I promise I'm going to do it long. But if there's things that come up, this is where you check yourself. You know, what do I need to do? So if I wanted to get rid of that, would take it and point cut it. Bring it up. In other words, it's called writing the parietal line. Now, do you see where that's disappeared? Okay. So that's traveled down into it. I wish this hair was layered just a bit so you could really see it, but what that did was it totally, even though it still goes down, softened that line a bit, but look at the layers underneath. So keep in mind, the head above the area above the parietal line, these are factors as well on hair cutting. The area above the parietal line, if you measure out this area up to the back of the apex, and you measure out the flat part of the head, there's less hair here, more hair here. What happens? Power in numbers is going to lay there. It's going to look a little heavier, and this is going to look a little thinner. Why? Because there's less hair right there. All right? Those are all factors about this. They're all factors about hair cutting. So diagramming, write it down. Put it in the direction that you're going to cut the hair. Focus on the perimeter line. If I bring it in this area, what am I going to get? Now, understanding this, getting this, is going to help you with the shorter haircuts. Now, usually what I have with my students, for them to start clipper cutting, for them before I even start diagramming, let me get this mannequin here. Before they even start diagramming a clipper cut, I make them take a mannequin. Most people think that you can just go in with a clipper and cut it. Now go back to the diagram on the clipper cut. It says to come up so far, but if you don't know how to hold a clipper, if you don't know how to carve, so what I have my students do is they pick this up and they start their clipper cutting out here. To practice holding that clipper, to practice carving, to practice using that. It's the same thing. So you would diagram that. And you would diagram your carving method. In other words, make an S shaping. I know we went right from this into clipper cutting. Sorry, I don't want to confuse you guys. But I want to cover the areas of diagramming. Because as we get shorter, that's exactly what's going to happen. So the next diagram that I'm going to do is going to be the zero elevation. You see this coming up? I mean, this creates a lot of movement. But I'm going to give you some whys as far as how to do it so that, and you're going to be with your zero elevation, secondary position, pretty much 100% of the time. All right? There's factors in some of the ways that people do their zero elevation haircut. This is for layering, and you see all the lines, all the directions, but keep in mind, perimeter line is the biggest factor. I hope you guys got something out of this. I only did half the head. I didn't style it. When we come back, I may have it finished. I'll style it for you so you can see the variables. But what we're working on right now is hair cutting. Hairstyling will come to you. If you want to learn how to round brush, blow dry, maybe we'll do a class on that, on how to take you know what, why don't we do that as the next class? I'm going to show you how to I'm going to show you how to round brush, blow dry, so that you can learn how to do it correctly, because there is a method to it. All right, it's not just going in and blow drying that. The cuticle grows a certain way. If you're wondering, why do I have flyaways? Well, that's why. Oh, I almost forgot. Probably too late now. I mean, some of you guys have already turned me off. I don't know. Anyways, the book. Please don't forget to get my book. Trust your PhD stylist. I am a PhD. Professional hair designer. Be one with me, would you? Take care. God bless. Bye.